I can't
So
stop looking at your sad clown back there, dude. You got some new art back there?
so there's a clown picture of a clown. It's one of my favorite things ever. It's Sean Townley gave me that. He painted that one night at probably like 5 in the morning.
You painted that? That's awesome.
Well, the one below it, this one right here, is this the one you're talking about? The one with the red
Yeah,
nose?
yeah.
So that one I got, I literally took that out of a dumpster behind a thrift store, in Orange Circle because I was like, "I can't why would nobody want this and why would they throw it away?" And
That's
it's not the only time I've
amazing.
taken a picture. I have a pretty awesome old, like, antique painting of Abraham Lincoln that they used to use, like, in schoolhouses used to have a picture of George Washington, and they used to have one of Abraham Lincoln. So randomly, I'm walking by. We were going to breakfast at Orange Circle in Orange, California, and there's like a ton of antique stores, and there's a dumpster, and this Lincoln picture is just sitting out there, and I'm like, "There's nobody in the world that wants this Lincoln picture." So anyway, I took it. It still has the original frame. I don't, I'm sure it's trash.
You
That,
don't
but
know where it came from at all?
I have no idea. I just know that it was in came from an antique shop, but I don't know the origins of like where it came after, before that. But
Don't you also have a something that what is it, like a portrait or something that somebody gave you that they said, like, Paul Rubens gave them, or what was it?
yeah, yeah. So the very first comedy theater that I performed at was called the Berubing Theater, and it started out in Costa Mesa, and it was in the back of an old mattress warehouse. Dave, you came to a few of the improv classes with me there. But me and my buddy Adam, there was advertisements for improv. So when I left Point Loma and I came back, I was like, okay, I'll go do improv because it's something I've always wanted to do. And during my last like 6 months at Point Loma, I kind of got obsessed with like sketch comedy in terms of like the groundlings and like the history behind everything. So I came home and I went to actually it was my dad who told me, hey, I saw this sign for improv classes. You should go check it out. So me and my buddy Adam went to go. This is a long. You weren't expecting this long-winded story, but I went to the where the address for where it was, and it had said it was closed, but that they had moved it to a place in Costa Mesa. So we hucked it all the way from Anaheim to Costa Mesa, and we got to this old like this business park with all these warehouses and office buildings, and we walk up to the door. The address that was on the sign that said we've moved here, and it was black, but in the back you could see like a glimmer of light, and you could just hear people talking. So if I was left to my own devices, that's a situation where I'd be like, all right, I'm going to leave because it's closed or there's something weird going on here. But Adam was like, no, let's go in and just check it out. The door's open. What's the worst that happen? So we went in, and in the back, this dude named Chris Barube had built this like awesome black box theater in the back of this mattress warehouse. So he was putting together like an inaugural sketch comedy troupe. This is like the Evil Dead Rises review that Vince gave, where it's like you're looking for highlights, and I'm just giving you the complete origin. So long story short, it wasn't zoned correctly. There wasn't supposed to be a theater in this, business park. So he had a theater out in LA called the Second Stage, I think, off La Brea. So he moved us out there. We went, and he knew I was a massive Pee Wee, as you can see, a massive Pee Wee's Big Adventure and a massive Paul Rubens fan. So he actually knew he used to tour with the Second City. So he knew all these comedians. That was one of the coolest things is like I would just, hey, did you know this person? He's like, oh yeah, I did this show, blah, blah, blah. Don't know if they were all true, which is a story for another time. If you talk to my buddy Kirk, they weren't. But he knew Paul Rubens, and he said that Paul Rubens would randomly just show up around Christmas time back in the day, and he would just have in hand the weirdest gift that he could possibly give you, and that was his way of like, showing that he like, that he loved
That
you or
checks
whatever.
out, dude.
Totally checks out. I totally believe it. And it was such a weird thing, but he said that so before we moved the theaters out to LA, he told me, he goes, oh yeah, I have this painting that Paul Rubens gave me of Dr. Spock, and it's one of the weirdest like things that I've ever seen. And so when we moved to the theater out in LA, he gave it to me. I came in one day and he goes, hey, this is the thing I was telling you about. I was like, oh my god. I held it with reverence, and he goes, yeah, you can have it. So it was like a really cool, gift for me because it gave me just enough information that I could really fantasize about the story behind of it, and it's such
Yeah.
a that's a great point, dude. I forgot about that. Sarah took it and put it in her office at work and would have people coming in all the time. Like, what's the story behind this thing? So, she would tell them that long-winded story, but yeah, I don't know. There's just something cool to me about, old like photos, and that one, the clown, which is how we started this. The clown, I don't know, just like it broke my heart that somebody was going to get rid of that. So I'm like, all right, I'll
It
keep it.
was you gave it a new home, and now it's famous.